Everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the top 3 stocks for this week. I'm also going to explain with y'all why the market moved the way it did on Friday, along with some updates on some of the stocks that I've mentioned in the last video. Alright, y'all, let's get started right off the bat. So we got the SPY, and in the last video came out more bearish than neutral. I was much more bearish in that last video, and for good reasons. I told y'all that the market was chopping over here for some time, and that it could continue going sideways and maybe even go lower if the unemployment data came out to be worse than expected. And fortunately for any of the bears, it turned out to be decent, and the market reacted in a positive manner. I'm going to explain with y'all exactly why it moved the way it did, and we're going to look at it on a 5-minute chart. Right, so in the morning when the data came out, it jumped and it immediately started to open up higher. Now these little drops right here, this thing right here, this 10-minute drop, the way that I see it, again, for anybody who had puts on either on the SPY or on any stock, any large cap stock for that matter, this is pretty much a second opportunity for the market for shorts to exit their position and to break even. The market is not that cruel. Sometimes it provides these opportunities, and there are ways to spot exactly whether it is an opportunity to get out or just a pop and fade, right? So let's look at the VIX. When this thing happened, when they put out that unemployment data news and the market started to jump like that, the VIX took a massive hit. All right, it was looking like this, and I showed y'all in that video that it was cooking over here, and I was patiently waiting to see if this thing could go all the way through and break out above 23, and unfortunately it didn't because of the positive news, which I guess in the grand scheme is good for the overall market. Yeah, I get it, but I'm just talking for the perspective of people who were short bias. All right, now as you can see, the VIX failed to get back into it. It really struggled. It got all the way up to that previous level of support, which now became resistance, and then it started fading before 9 o'clock. As you can see, it got really low at 9 o'clock. And we're gonna go back to the SPY, and with the SPY at 9 o'clock, that thing started to make its way around. All right, and that is when I actually started getting rid of all of my puts. I'm going to do an update on that stock really quick, but first we got to talk about the top 3 stocks. All right, I'm gonna go back to the price section of the SPY and the contracts that I had. All right, now the first stock that y'all should be keeping in your watch list for this week, that stock is Meta. All right, and the reason why I want to share Meta with y'all is because of this. If you look at it closely, there is this thing going on here. It's very clean. It broke out on, I believe, on Monday, right over here at 123, and then it's just been grinding upward ever since. All right, this is a bull flag. It's quite clean, and it's not done yet. And with the Nasdaq being slightly positive right now, I think that tomorrow there might be a little bit of a push, just a little bit of a push, which will help Meta climb all the way up to at least $135 tomorrow morning. Maybe even $137 before we see some type of pullback. All right, and looking at it on the big scale, it's been beaten up for quite some time, and it's been trying to make a recovery. The previous gap right here already got filled. All right, there's another one all the way up here at 166. eventually it's gonna get filled. I just don't know when. All right, I don't know when Meta is gonna go up to 160. Eventually it will. I just don't know when. Maybe it will get there after this earnings right here, after this earnings report. Maybe, right? It really depends. But again, 90% of all gaps get filled at some point in time, and this one already got taken care of. So tomorrow I expect some continuation on Meta all the way up into the 135-ish. All right. Now the second stock y'all should be keeping in your watch list for this week. That stock is Oxy. All right. Now with Oxy, again, I shared this one in the past, way up here at 66. I told y'all, watch it for a drop for this gap to be filled around here, and it did. It did its job already. All right, and it's been consolidating sideways. And right now, I think that it may make its move back up, because looking at it on this perspective alone, there is this level of supports. It got a little bit below it, and right now it's climbing back up. All right, and if you zoom in closely on the daily, there is a morning star, a candlestick pattern, this right here. The combination of these three candles is a morning star. It happened before for Oxy, right over here, before the uptrend happened for the next like 4 to 5 days. All right, it even lasted all the way for 2 weeks straight. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something similar happen again, maybe a move all the way up to this level of resistance right here. Again, it used to be support until the shorting opportunity right there. All right, now there is a chance that it could become a new level of resistance. So watch Oxy for a move like this all the way up to around these levels, where these dip buyers who dip bought here and are now praying and hoping for the stock to go all the way back up there again, so that they can get rid of their shares or contracts. All right, so they're just patiently waiting for another chance, and I think that chance might come next week. So watch Oxy for a move up to 67, followed by a rejection. I think it's going to reject. I really do. But just watch it for that move. All right, there's multiple ways to play this, and this is what I see for the stock. Now the last stock, the third stock, all of you should be keeping in your watch list, that I'm keeping in my watch list for this week. That stock is CCL. All right, and this one is, there's multiple ways to interpret it. Somebody could just look at this on the daily and say that there is an inverted head and shoulders on there, which is a possibility. We have the left shoulder, we got the head, and then we got the right shoulder. All right, the way that I see it, and the reason why I'm sharing this in this video is because of this reason. Looking at it on the 4-hour, I'm gonna zoom out and then zoom back in right here. There is a falling wedge on the charts. No. Yeah. There is that on the charts. And again, this one broke out on Tuesday, unlike Meta, which broke out on Monday, and it's been climbing ever since, and it has room to run to the first target of around 10 bucks. To the first target of 10 bucks. All right, it could go a little bit higher, but for now I'm just gonna say 10 bucks. So definitely watch this one for that move. These individuals are right there, and they may want to use that opportunity to exit. So watch it for a move up there to $10. All right, now let's do an update on some of the stocks that I've mentioned last week, which will tie into what I was talking about earlier in the video, with the SPY giving a second chance for shorts to get out. So I had puts on Netty, which was the stock that I've shared with y'all in the last video. All right, I told y'all that this one was going to drop all the way down to these regions right here, and for good reasons. The structure was there. It's very clean, right? And fortunately for me, this thing didn't gap this thing didn't jump too much after the release of the unemployment data. So as soon as it opened, like the contracts were kind of intact, like they didn't really move, and then they started gaining value all as the stock was dropping over here. And I used that opportunity again by looking at the VIX, right, and seeing that the VIX wasn't really climbing up, and the VIX was also fading. That's when I knew the strength was gonna go into the market, and I used that chance to pretty much just get out at like 8:51, and again at like 9:08, which was right over here, right in these regions. This is when I got rid of those puts because the turnaround was coming. All right, now what's going to happen to Netty next? It really depends. I shared with y'all two different pathways with DataDog, which looks exactly like this one, right? So again, with Netty, this was a 2.6%. No. It was a, from here, this was a negative 3.5%. All right, so congrats to anybody who was able to make money on it on a day trade, because the day trading opportunity was right here. And the same thing applies with DataDog, right? And DataDog also, it opened at the same price and immediately dropped. All right, so these two stocks did their thing. And with the pathways that I shared with y'all with DataDog, it could follow option number 1, which is obviously the first one. I don't think that's likely because of what happened on Friday. All right, I think option number 2 is more likely, where DataDog wastes more time. It climbs up here, slowly climbs all the way back up to around 66, maybe 68, before we see a potential drop like that in the week that follows. I don't think it will be this week. I think it will be in the week that follows. All right, so that's my very honest thoughts on DDOG and Netty. Now, the last stock that I've mentioned in the last video, that one was KWEB. All right, and KWEB, this one turned out it just stayed the same. Like, it didn't really move at all. Again, the sector is still strong, and my thoughts and opinions on KWEB are not changing until it gives me a reason to be like, okay, this thing is not gonna make it to $38. So until then, I think it can make its way down here. The ascending triangle is very clean, and I don't have a reason to be bearish on it. So that's my very honest thoughts on all of these stocks, and that is the end of the video. Again, do not forget to annihilate the like button for the YouTube algorithm. As always, helps the channel a lot and it allows more people to get this knowledge as well. Also, if you are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, definitely click on subscribe and click on the notification bell along with all notifications. That way you don't miss out on future uploads. If you'd like to be part of a private Discord community where you can get all of this information in real time as I see them, you can find that as the first link in the description of the video below. If you haven't added me on social media yet, you can find me at NGumah and at PATTERNOLOGY LAB on Instagram and on Twitter. And lastly, if all of this is brand new to you, if you're interested in getting started in the stock market, there's some basic step-by-step directions in the description of the video below. Step 1 to step 3. It only takes about 10 to 15 minutes for you to have all the tools you need to start trading immediately. You can also get some free stocks after signing up with Webull using the third link in the description of the video below. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is NGumah with PATTERNOLOGY LAB, where we trade patterns and patterns only. And I will see all of you in the next video.